So it is now my pleasure and honor to introduce the valedictorian for the 2019 graduating class. I knew that would happen. In reviewing this student's academic record through his high school years, one thing jumped out at me. This year's valedictorian is a very well-rounded student, not only with strong academic skills, with most core class marks in the 90 to 100% range throughout high school, but also a student who enhanced his course selection with a range of CTS options and off-campus opportunities. He also dedicated his spare time to giving back to our school and the community in a variety of ways. This year, our valedictorian was a valuable mentor for younger students in our school. He is currently a board member for the Blue Heron Support Services and was one of the supporting athletes for the Unified Games. He loves to stay active, acquiring his black belt in karate and playing junior lacrosse. As an accomplished basketball and lacrosse ref, he exudes confidence and professionalism while on the court. He is active in his church and teaches Bible study classes for preschool students. Despite having a full schedule each semester, he also participated in the portrait photography class and the natural sciences camp this fall. Teachers shared with me that our valedictorian was never complacent to just submit an assignment and move on. He always took the time to do his best work and sought feedback to understand how he could improve. Remember, those marks were in the 90 to 100% range. Never complaining about his mark, but rather asking questions to learn what he could do differently to improve. Most often, the criteria for choosing the class valedictorian is based on academic performance, so it needs to be highlighted that this student achieved 100% on the Chemistry 30 diploma this year. Yeah, take that in. To say that Mrs. Vonderchuk was beaming is an understatement. This student is also very strong in math, scoring 98% on the Math 30-1 diploma. Yep. And completing Math 31 with a 99%. Come on, Mrs. Shafrick. Chemistry wasn't the only course where he achieved 100%. He also accomplished this feat in drama this year, where he had the lead role in the fall musical production of In the Heights. His vocal talent and stage presence were pivotal for the success of this production. So if you have not figured it out by now, I am very pleased to announce that Elisha Raju is the 2019
All right, wow. That was really encouraging. Thank you, Ms. Seymour. That was really kind. I think I might need a needle to pop my big head now. So, welcome everyone, faculty and staff, family and friends, and of course the graduating class of 2019. As was mentioned, my name's Elisha, and I get the huge honor and privilege of speaking to all of you as this year's valedictorian. I'd like to start off with some thank yous to those who have helped me and helped all of us get to the place where we are today. I need to thank the school, of course, the principal and our associate principals, but most importantly our teachers who have helped us throughout all our years of schooling. I know Mrs. Shafrick was a big one for me in math, helping me through. And she was always a teacher that could never just tell you the right way to do a question. She would always make you work for it, and I've got to thank her for that. Mr. Montgomery, I've got to thank for helping me throughout my physics, and I've got to say I love your many stories. Of course, I'm sure all of us here have heard his stories multiple times over, but they're still great. And Mrs. Bonderchuk, I've got to thank you for helping me to get that 100% on my chemistry diploma exam. That was amazing. And there's so many more teachers here that have helped all of us throughout all our schooling and that we owe thanks to, but sadly I don't have time to mention everyone. I'd also like to thank my family, my mom of course, who has supported me and helped me through all my years of schooling and through everything I do. I'd like to thank my siblings who are here, who were always pushing me to do better, and they always challenged me and gave me a standard that I had to reach. And I'd like to thank my father, who I'm sure everyone knows by now has been manipulating my marks since elementary school to get me here. No, but actually my father is the wisest person I know, and he is my biggest role model. And in fact, most of the ideas that I have in this speech, I have learned over the years from him. I'd also like to thank my friends and all of you in the graduating class. Those of you in this class who always challenged me and pushed me to truly understand the concept by forcing me to explain it multiple times and getting me to help you anytime an assignment comes. Those are the real people that are the reason why I'm here. I'd also like to thank the many of you that were my competition throughout high school. There was quite a few that pushed me and challenged me and never allowed me to slack off through the schooling. And also those of you who were always good for a laugh. I know I'll never forget when Dylan Scheffler asked for Mrs. Shaffrick's phone number. Most importantly, I would like to thank my savior, Google. I'm sure Mr. Tyrrell can agree with that one, and I'm sure you all know that's the first thing I went to when I heard I had to do this speech. No, but actually I do need to thank my Savior God, who is the whole reason why I'm here today. God's the source of my hope, and He's the source of my motivation in everything I do. He's also blessed me immensely throughout my years and throughout all my schooling. Now, these high school years have flown by, and we've all grown immensely throughout them. I remember coming in grade 10, and it was a very exciting year, but at the same time, a little bit scary. I was one of the students who came in from Nearlandia, and like most of us that came from Nearlandia, I was pretty nervous about what this new school would be like. But in that year, I was amazed at how welcoming and inclusive the students of this class could be. I met some really kind and genuine people in my first year of high school. Of course, it may have helped that anyone who became friends with me ended up getting the benefit of having free lunch once a week, thanks to my mom. And then we made it into grade 11. That kind of nasty middle year where you're no longer excited about the new things of high school, but at the same time, you don't feel close enough to the finish to be excited about graduation. But we still made it through. And then there's grade 12, our final year. I've got to say, this year has been such a blast. And I feel I've connected with so many of you so well. And I regret those of you that I didn't get a chance to connect with as well as I could have. But all in all, I really think this class is a great community. And now here we are. We made it through to the finish, and we're ready to start the next part of our journey. So when I was going through trying to find what would be a good topic to talk about here, what I wanted to share with you as some insight, the biggest thing that stood out to me that I felt I should say to you is that you have a purpose. As a Christian, I understand that God has a plan and a purpose for my life, and I have value because of that. That's a huge part of my life, and that is what motivates me in everything I do. But I also believe that each and every one of you has a purpose in this life. And every one of you has unique gifts, talents, and abilities that will allow you to achieve that purpose. Each one of you is unique and valuable, and you have an important part to play in the grand story. Now, Mrs. Raymond, I never thought I would actually use Shakespeare any time in my life, but here I am quoting Shakespeare. He said, "All the world's a stage, and all of us are merely players." And still along those lines of theater, to quote Mr. Bonema, there are no small roles, only small actors. So we need to find our role, and remember, just like our grad theme says, no dream is too big. So if you have a dream that you feel you're being called to, go after it. Step out of your comfort zone, and don't be afraid of failure. Woody Allen said, "If you're not failing every now and again, It's a sign you're not doing anything very innovative. I really like this quote, and I found I actually had kind of been using it before I even knew about it, in the area of snowboarding. Whenever I'm snowboarding, I always tell myself, and my siblings have heard this, I tell myself that if I don't fall at least a couple of times on the hill throughout the trip, then I obviously wasn't trying hard enough and I wasn't trying to do enough cool things. Because until we push ourselves to the point that we fall, we don't actually know what our true potential is. And similarly, if we never fail, then we can never determine what in our lives needs to be improved upon. But failure is a scary thing. No one wants to experience failure, so more often than not, we choose the easy road. But that can never lead us to greatness. While I was going through things on the internet, I stumbled across this article that stood out to me, and it was titled, "Why Valedictorians Never Become Rich and Famous." That was a little disheartening. But don't worry, I'll prove them wrong. So this article explained that it's because the school system rewards those who constantly do what they're told and are always following the rules. Whereas life actually rewards those who shake things up and take risks. So we can't live in fear of failure. Instead, we need to step out and try new things. We need to get out of our comfort zone. Connecting with my first point, it's important that you understand and believe that you have a purpose and you have value in order for you to then have the courage to go out and take risks. When you have the courage to try new things, and when you rid yourself of the fear of failure, you will be able to accomplish great things. As we look to our future, it may not always be easy to understand how things are going to work out. But it's important that we have some hope that it will all work out. And if you are able to do that, I believe you'll be amazed at how each experience, moment, and failure in your life shapes you and molds you into the person you were meant to be. I'd like to conclude by congratulating the grad class of 2019 and telling you what an honor it's been to go to school with you for these past few years.